Well, the city of New Orleans gathering right here on Rampart Street so we can honor the late and great Eric Paulsen, our friend and our co-worker. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore, and we are live tonight on the American Townhouse balcony here on Rampart Street. We are right next door to the WWL TV studios where Eric Paulsen came to work for literally 4 decades.
Yeah.
One of the longest running anchors in the country.
Yes, he is. And also that parade is starting right now on St. Philip Street. And even though it's starting on, by Tuba Fats Square, I mean, if you take a look at North Rampart Street right now in front of the studios, people have been pulling up, they're walking up, they're driving by, we're meeting all of the people. We took a few pictures walking over here, Katie.
Yes.
Everyone is getting ready, and you got some people that even brought chairs outside so that they can watch the second line. They're extremely excited so that we can celebrate our Eric. The love can be felt everywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been sharing tributes for him, to him, since he passed away this weekend. We've been hearing from his friends, his family, even just those in the community who felt that Eric was family. We know he certainly was to us, and it's going to be a great second line tonight. The weather couldn't be more perfect for it.
Oh, yes, perfect weather for it. Meg Ferris is kicking off our coverage right now. We're going to give you live coverage throughout that second line. She is at Tuba Fats Square. That is where the second line will begin. Meg?
I talked about Al Saturday night on the air. Hello, everyone. People are just saying, this man here is just saying that only Eric Paulsen could upstage Taylor Swift. And I said, we've been saying that in the newsroom for several days now, but it is packed out here. The atmosphere is absolutely incredible. I've gotten more hugs in the last 10 minutes than I think I've gotten in a lifetime from people just coming up and saying how much they love Eric. And his wife is here and family members are here. But all week long, we've been talking to friends of Eric's who met him just once and became lifelong friends. Take a look at 2 of them we talked to earlier. Like so many others, Eric met Chef Andrea Apuzzo while dining on his food, and a decades-long bond followed.
He made me feel so comfortable, so special, and the relationship got stronger and stronger and stronger. And of course, I liked it because not only because it's a very down-to-earth person, made me laugh, made me happy, and he enjoyed what I was doing. He appreciated what I was doing, as far as, cooking. Next thing you know, Eric and later his bride Bethany became frequent guests in Andrea's villa in Capri, Italy. And we have this big, huge tomato. He loved tomato. So he goes in the backyard, pick up tomatoes, pick up tomatoes out of the ground, the vine. He washed stuff and he said to eat. He said, Andrea, my God, how can you leave this island? How can you have this? It's like put the Creole tomato to shame. And for 20 years, Fats Domino and Eric were close after he did a report on the music legend.
He would always come to my grandfather's birthdays. He never missed a birthday, and even after my grandfather passed away, he always made sure that some way, somehow, he showed some appreciation or a token of love and memory of my grandfather, because, I mean, they were just that close.
Fats to private chef Aaron Hartzog was Papa Twan, and Eric was special too.
He loved my grandfather. Yeah, my grandfather admired Eric, and Eric admired my grandfather. I mean, everybody just gravitated towards Mr. Eric because he had truly become family over the years.
Aaron was excited that one day Eric said he was going to have her on the morning news to showcase her recipes in the kitchen.
I always want to do it with him being there, and I'm like, no, I don't get the chance to do that. So that bothered me. Like, aside from everything else, it's like, you have conversations with people and then you don't think that you don't get to go back to it.
Andrea was in Italy and didn't get to say goodbye.
This affected me more than affected my brother. I lost 3 brothers. He affected me more. I was so sick Sunday, I couldn't move it. I was like, devastated.
Shared admiration for each other because of their obvious love of New Orleans and their contribution to its culture. We'll always cherish our fond memories of him. Eric and his endearing spirit will truly be missed. And it's just amazing out here how many people love Eric and have joined this and said they wanted to be here for him, and how many people said they literally grew up with him. And Sharice and Katie, how many times have you gone out on an interview or gone to eat somewhere, became friends with someone, and invited yourself to their villa in Italy? I can tell you zero for me.
Zero.
But that's all
That can
Eric.
only happen with Eric Paulsen.
Only Eric Paulsen, and only Al Copeland, apparently, which is unbelievable. That story made me laugh so much, and just because I think that I could absolutely see that happening.
Yeah. You know what's
You know?
really interesting, Meg? You talk about that story that everybody says they grew up watching him.
Yeah.
I could never tell Eric that I grew up watching
No,
him
he'd be
because
offended.
he would be so offended because he would say I was calling him old, and I said I watched you when I was a little girl, and now I'm
Yeah,
your colleague.
I
So
know.
I mean, he would be so offended, but man, we are going to miss him so much, and the energy is crazy down here, Meg, as well.
It is. It is wonderful. You know, we're seeing lots of familiar faces down here on Rampart Street.
Yeah.
We saw, former producer Dominic Massa, Melissa
Yes.
James crossing the street, Sophia Hackett.
Yes.
You know, all these people who, just have known Eric for decades, worked
yes.
with him for more than a decade. and
Including
just love
Carla
him.
Redondo, who's
Carla
down there
Redondo.
as well. There was a colleague that shared a
Yeah.
really endearing story about Eric last Saturday. We're going to go to Alyssa Curtis now, continuing our coverage as we get ready for this big second line parade for our Eric Paulsen. Alyssa, what do you got?
Guys, we are in the thick of it. This party, because that's really what it is. It is a party for Eric. There are so many people out here, and it just shows how much people loved Eric. I've been standing on the corner waiting for the second line to start, and I can't go a minute without someone coming up and saying, I loved Eric, had a story about Eric, and that's just who he was. He was such a big personality. So many people watched him and grew up with him. I have Kirsten here with me. Kirsten, you talked to me about how you grew up watching Eric. What did Eric mean to you?
Eric was like a part of our family. He woke us up in the mornings before school, got my parents off to work on time, and I just, it doesn't feel real. This does not feel like we're out here really doing this for Eric Paulsen, because I watched that broadcast when he told us that he was gonna go, take care of his health and then come back, and we were all thinking, like you all, we thought he was coming back, but we're sending him home now, and this is everything I expected, because I go to every second line. I don't miss nothing, and this is true New Orleans.
Why was it so important for you to come out here and celebrate Eric in this way?
Eric raised me. This is like a family member. Like, you just cannot, if you grew up watching Channel 4 News in the morning, there is no way you could not be out here. Like, no, it's just not an option. I had to be out here. Like, I was asking questions about when was the second line, and I didn't even know they had prepared one. I just was joking, and somebody commented and said it's Tuesday at 6, and I'm like, what? So yeah, this is supposed to be done, because Eric was the heartbeat of New Orleans. Even though he worked behind that desk, he was a part of this community. Because if you ever saw him out in the streets, like, he allowed you to treat him like a regular person and not a celebrity, and I like that about him.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing some kind words, and that is just a glimpse into what I've heard today. So many people, again, have come up to me to talk about whether it was a funny moment they saw on the morning news, or when they saw him out at Jazz Fest, or whatever it may be. Every single person just has such a great memory and impact that Eric made on their lives, and I think this was the perfect way to send him off. We're waving our Eric handkerchiefs out here and dancing along the streets, just like he would want, just like he deserves. So we're having a party. We're celebrating Eric's life, just how he lived. Absolutely, we're living like Eric. Eric, we love you. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. So many people love Eric. We're gonna head to the station. We're Eric's wife. We're dancing our way down to Rampart Street. You guys might even hear us soon. So I'll send it back to you guys. I'm gonna keep dancing.
As it should be. We should be dancing in the streets.
Oh, look, I'm already dancing.
Yeah.
We're on top of the American Townhouse balcony that's right next door to Channel 4 studios,
Yes.
and we can hear the band making its way from Tuba Fats Square
Yeah.
onto North Rampart. The traffic has been stopped. I will let people know that the traffic is stopping on North Rampart,
Yes.
so you may want to have to find another route around. We have people that are in the streets that are waiting, and we actually see some police units coming down St. Philip right now about to make that turn to North Rampart.
Yes.
So that parade is making its way
It
here.
really is, and we're starting to hear the music. The people are dancing in the streets, as Alyssa just mentioned. Working their way here to celebrate the life of Eric Paulsen, our longtime anchor of our Eyewitness Morning News for literally 40 years
Yes.
here in New Orleans. He is a household name in many, many, many homes in this city, and he deserves the tribute that he is getting tonight. People lined up
yes.
here on Rampart Street, and they are all ready to just celebrate.
All right, speaking of being on Rampart Street, our own Whitney Miller is down there as we get ready for the celebration to make its way over. Whitney, you're about to be in the middle of it all.
Hey, my baby. Yeah, I'm in the street right now. Look, the police is behind me. Let me get out the road, okay? But I know they shut down the street already. People are out here. At first, I was telling you I was a little nervous, or not nervous, but jealous that I wasn't at the start of this. The vibes are already high out here for Eric. I have some people that have been telling me that they're ready to tell me about Eric. Tell me, why'd you come out here to celebrate Eric?
Celebrate his homegoing, Eric Paulsen homegoing, and celebrate Roots of Music that's coming to help to celebrate his homegoing. He was a beautiful person, moaning person, just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. So I came out for the celebration.
Awesome. And you woke up to him every morning talking to us?
Every morning. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm up.
4 o'clock, waiting on Eric to stroll in at 6. Let me take you. Oh, the band, I hear him. I want to introduce you to one more person. Miss Rose says she met Eric in the 90s, and she said she wants to tell y'all about it. So let me get over here before the music gets to us. Miss Rose. Miss Rose. Miss Rose, you told me you was going to tell us about Eric. Tell me how you met Eric in the 90s. You came out here to celebrate?
I met Eric in the 90s. I used to do catering at Tipitina's, and I knew Fats Domino since I was young. So one day I'm talking to Fats, and he walked up, and I looked up and I said, "Oh, I didn't know you were that tall." And he looked at me and he said, "I didn't know you were that short."
Just like Eric to be a jokester. I want to send it back to you guys because the band is already here. So, yeah.
And here it is so loud. They are playing their hearts out for Eric Paulsen tonight.
Yes.
You can see our WWL Morning News anchors walking on Rampart Street as we make the turn here. Right in front of the WWL TV studios where Eric called basically home for 4 decades.
Yes, right now you're looking at the Roots of Music Crusaders. This is one of the organizations that Eric Paulsen supported. We have all supported the Roots of Music right now. It's really interesting because we're getting our own parade for Eric Paulsen, and I know that he is smiling down. This is the way to remember him. He asked in lieu of donations to support this organization, the Roots of Music, and also to support the Ella Project as well.
Yeah, absolutely. These are 2 causes that are near and dear to Eric's heart, and his family has asked for any donations to be made to them in lieu of donating any flowers or anything for his services. Now, those are going to be private, but this is the very public celebration, and you can hear it is loud. These kids are proud, and they are looking phenomenal tonight. A very fitting tribute to a man who held this cause so dear to his heart.
Right, I know that Eric loved these kids. He always loved supporting music and the culture of the New Orleans area. I will tell you, being in Treme is a fitting way to start this parade. Because it is the root of America's music, where jazz was born, where America's culture is born and bred from. So, of course, we have to start the second line in Treme and take it to where, of course, he stayed for 40 years. Giving you a look right now. Look at all the people down there. Katie, this feels like Mardi Gras. Eric would love love it.
He really does. He would absolutely love it. You know, he's been a fixture for our Mardi Gras coverage for so many years. I don't know what it's going to be like without him this year.
I don't know what it's going to be like without him. And always, as Sheba mentioned, Eric loved to put on a wig.
He did.
He loved to put on a wig, and he loved to have a really good time.
He certainly did. And he loved music, man. He loved it.
All right, if you're just joining us, you're getting a live look right now on North Rampart. This is in front of the WWL studios. The Roots of Music Crusaders are down here, an organization that Eric Paulsen supported, and they're performing in tribute to Eric. And this is only just the beginning of the second line parade to honor our own Eric Paulsen, and it is such a fitting tribute. They have so many people that are here having a good time. Good to see all of y'all. There have so many people that have been coming here. So many people that have come here so that we can really get a sense of love. And I think that we're about to do a performance. If I'm not mistaken, Katie, I think they're going to perform for Eric.
I think they are. They do have a special performance planned. I'm sure they're stopping for a little photo op, which I know is going to mean so much to Eric's wife, Bethany, and his two sons and his daughter, John and Emmett.
Right.
It's just such a fitting tribute. It's going to be so wonderful to see people stopping and saying a few words about what Eric meant to them. And we've been hearing such amazing things from literally around the country about how much Eric had an impact on our community and beyond.
Yes, right now we have our Willie Miller. She's right in the middle of all of it. I don't know if we're going to go back to Whitney, but Whitney, if you can just kind of give people a look at what's going on over here and tell us a little bit more about what they're about to do. What are you hearing?
Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're gonna play.
Yeah, that's Whitney.
That's
Whitney
our
Miller
Whitney
on
Miller.
tonight.
Yeah, that is our Whitney Miller right now. She's down there on the ground where the Roots of Music is beginning to perform.
Yes.
And I will tell you, emotions are running high
They
for
are.
all of us right now. A performance is happening right in front of the studio, and I have to tell you, to have some of the old WWL co-workers here with us.
Yeah, people who worked with Eric, you know.
Yes, and everybody has a story. I mean,
everybody has
all right,
a story.
let's get a live listen to this performance right now.
I think they just cut it off. They may be about to say a few words about Eric and just pay a tribute to him, both with their words and their music. So hopefully we're going to hear from some members who have organized this, Roots of Music in particular, who was a cause near and dear to Eric's heart. I mean, that is where the family has asked donations to be made.
Right.
This is just the first taste of the second line that is to come.
Yes.
There's much more coming, making its way up St. Philip Street. And then let's take a listen
We're about
in.
to get a performance now.
What an amazing tribute that was.
All right, and now
Roots of
we had a
Music
tribute.
saying we miss you, we miss you, we miss you, and I
the
can
second
guarantee
line
we
is
miss you.
here.
Yeah.
The second line is here, y'all. We got to keep this going. I know our producers want us to speak, but I think what's more important is you see the amount of people who came for him.
Yeah.
You see these people, look at them.
It's an incredible showing of outpouring of love, outpouring of sadness and grief in the best way we do it possible, right? Like, we celebrate your life by having a party, and that one got me. But let's check it out. Check out the second line. See what's happening down there. I mean, this is incredible. People have their umbrellas out. They're dancing. Roots of Music is still hanging out in front of the WWL-TV studios at this hour after such an incredibly moving tribute. People in the crowd all joined in singing, "We miss you, we miss you, we miss you."
And we're so honored.
And we miss you, Eric.
Honestly, we're so honored that people loved him the way they did. And if you know anything about his second line, right now they're doing a dirge for Eric. So Alyssa Curtis is down there on the ground right now. Alyssa, tell us more about what's going on.
What a celebration.
It's an absolute party down here. You could probably hear it.
We outside for Eric, baby. We love Eric. We love Eric. It's going down. We love Eric.
Everyone loves Eric. This is what it's been the whole entire time. We made it to the front of the station. I think I don't know how many blocks of Rampart are closed right now. I don't know how many blocks on Rampart are closed right now. But if you're sitting in traffic, I feel bad for you because we are having a party down here. There's been singing, there's been dancing. Look at this. Look at this. This is how many people loved Eric. This is the show of love for Eric. We're having so much fun, as Eric would want. We are just living like Eric. He loved music, he loved dancing, he loved the New Orleans culture. And New Orleans felt that because they are showing up and showing out for Eric. And they know just how much they mean to him and he means to this city. I've heard words like icon, legend, the heartbeat of this city. And those are all perfect words to describe Eric. We are just honestly having a blast. I don't know how else to describe it. We really are taking the words "live like Eric" true to heart this week, and especially tonight. Take a look at all of these people here today. This is a massive display of love for Eric, and I think you guys heard us coming down probably from about 2 blocks before we even got to the station, because that's how many people showed out. That's how many people love Eric, and we're just going to continue having a good time. We're going to continue speaking about him, continue to just live like him, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who has come up to us, whether it's me, Meg, or anyone out here, because so many of you guys have come up and shared a story, shared condolences, shared a funny moment, and that means so much to us. So thank you all so much for sharing what Eric meant to you and the impact he had, because that makes the world of a difference and means so much. I don't think you guys understand. But we're going to continue to party. I think we're going to have some more things in front of the station. I'm not too sure. I think we're just going to continue partying maybe, but I'm going to send it back out to you guys because I think I'm going to go dance with them. So.
It's Katie Moore back here live on Rampart Street, and this is such an amazing display. The dancing in the streets, the music, the drums, the whistle, it's just incredible. You know, tears are flowing from my eyes watching this, and it's tears of joy as much as it is tears of sadness. This is an incredible tribute, right?
Yes, yes. This is the culture. We're sorry we can't hear you guys very well, but you have the Roots of Music that just performed. We got a second line band going by, led by James Andrews, who was on our show earlier, WWL Morning News.
He has known Eric for a long time.
Yeah. About his relationship with Eric and all the people.
Yes.
Everybody here, thank you all so much for coming to celebrate. We're going to go down in the crowd. Whitney Miller is down there right now, Whitney, in the middle of the action. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, I'm out here. Hey, we are second line out here. Get it, get it. Y'all was getting a little emotional earlier because the kids, they're just so beautiful. I'm getting emotional again, but Eric means so much to the station, and it is evident here today. Just check out this second line right now. Oh, let me get out the way, okay? We're having a good time out here. All right, all right. You have a memory about Eric? Say that again. You have a memory about Eric?
Oh, baby, when he was eating Miss Linda's yakami. Miss Linda, my president. That's what I have the memories of.
Do you have a memory about Eric?
Oh, I certainly do. He was a good-spirited person. Every time I saw him, he was always the same.
Yes. You got a memory about
Everybody's telling us that's how much they love Eric, and he is an extremely good man. I know he is loving this right now. Hey, just rest in peace, man. Rest in peace after you was a great journalist. Yeah, he's a watch party. Check this out. I want to say, Eric, we love you. Take your west, my boy. Eric, we love you. Take your west, my boy. All right, baby, we love you for life. Just for you.
van stop for just a minute. I think people are about to make some remarks here on Rampart Street.
Yeah.
We're outside the Channel 4 studios where Eric has really just taken the helm every single morning for 40 years. And I think this has been such an incredible outpouring and celebration of his life. We have these awesome handkerchiefs that we've been using to second line. 3 of Eric's faces on them, which is appropriate if anybody knows Eric.
I said if Eric were around when I saw the handkerchiefs, and of course our morning crew, they're walking around down there. They had shirts that were made. Anything with Eric's face on it, he would absolutely love it, and he would relish in the fact that everyone is waving his face around. And the fact that he has all of these people that came out from the community to celebrate him. I mean, take a look at the street. I mean, everyone has stopped in front of the WWL studios. I was told that Bethany Paulsen is here as well. She is in front and witnessing the celebration and how much people loved her husband.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, this is where the two of them met, and Eric has talked many times about the fact that Bethany was a studio camera operator, and he fell in love, and she was the love of his life. And so this is just an incredible tribute to him and to Bethany and their love not only of each other, but of this city, of Channel 4, of WWL TV, and of music and the culture and the food in this community. I mean, this is Eric Paulsen brought to life.
I love it. Look, if you look around the streets, even just down the streets, people are walking up and they're dancing.
They're dancing.
I'm sweating a little bit if I look a little crazy here because I just couldn't help it. Earlier, the Roots of Music played a moving tribute playing I Miss You, and then, of course, followed by the brass band. So there were tears, and then there was laughter, and then there was dancing. And now, right now, as second lines always do, it picks up, and it's going to keep moving. I think they're going back to Tuba Fats Square, if I'm not mistaken.
They are. That is where they're scheduled to go. You know how these things go with second lines. But, you know, Charisse, you just described my essential roller coaster ride of emotions over the last few days after we found out that Eric had passed on Sunday morning. And it has been tears, it has been laughter, it has been a feeling of this is not real. It feels like it's not real. I expect him to come to work in a couple of days, like he was been on vacation or something.
I would never tell Eric this. I would never tell him this to his face. But I remember when I was a desk assistant many years ago, my first stint here at WWL, when I was just answering phones and running scripts in and rolling prompter. I wanted so badly to impress Eric Paulsen. And I wanted him to like me so badly, and Sally Ann Roberts, because these people were larger than life to me. Right now, I'm being told that Bethany is on camera. She's downstairs in front of the WWL studios.
I imagine it's been tough.
It has been, she is amazing. She's a wonderful woman. They were so in love with each other, and every opportunity he got the chance to talk about Bethany, he always did. He mentioned her, actually talked a great deal about her when he was recently honored at the Press Club Awards of New Orleans, and saying that he met her at the station, and she was an incredibly strong woman, and he loved that so much, so he married her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anybody who can take on Eric Paulsen on a regular basis has to be a pretty strong woman, and Bethany's incredible. She's so wonderful, and
she is.
You know, our hearts go out to her and their entire family. It has to be an incredibly difficult time for them. Of course, we know Eric's illness was short, and I feel like he really fought a courageous battle, and it was so quick. I think a lot of people didn't expect this to happen this soon, and we wish that he was still with us a little bit longer.
All of us, anyone who suffers from any sort of ailment, especially dealing with cancer, know that it is a very unforgiving illness, and it could be easily treated, and sometimes it can quickly take over the body. But Eric, if all of us spoke with Eric throughout his battle with cancer, and he was determined.
He really was.
Beat this. There was not a second in this fight where he had even given up. He had not thrown in the towel at all.
No, I think that anyone would say that he had more life to live and more adventures to take with Bethany and with Emmett, their young son, who is one of his 3 children that are surviving him today. And there were a lot more adventures I know that they wanted to take, more memories they wanted to make, and unfortunately that was taken away from them far too soon. And I think all of us feel that way at Channel 4 too. I mean, I feel like there are so many more broadcasts that I wanted to do with him, and more hurricanes to cover and more Mardi Gras to celebrate.
I remember When we covered Hurricane Ida, Eric shooting me a text because obviously we're working 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, where are you? I'm ready to go home.
Right.
But look, we want to continue our coverage, obviously, spending all of this time honoring someone who is so worthy of it, Eric Paulsen, our colleague and a friend of ours and family for a lot of us who passed away this past Saturday. We want to go over to Meg Ferris now, who continues our coverage of this big celebration that just went on past North Rampart and went past the WWL studios, Meg.
Katie and Sharice, we are looking from here at the starting part to what's happening in front of Channel 4 studios, and it is just overwhelming. I'm getting text messages. I'm getting people like the Dixie Cups, Barbara Hawkins of the Dixie Cups. She's out of town. I think she said she was in New York, and she said, save me your handkerchief. You have no idea how much Eric did for the Dixie Cups. And all the people here at the starting point, North Robinson and St. Philip, who are just coming up and saying that Eric did so much for the community and they feel like he was family. And it's just so genuine and sincere. And they're not at a second line for a newscaster. They're at a second line for a close family member. And they feel that they're related to all of us. And it's absolutely amazing. I'm overwhelmed. People coming up saying to thank me, but to tell me to thank all of you for what we do for the community every day when we just do our job. So I know I'm a little emotional, but I am overwhelmed with the love and the outpouring of people just saying thank you. Of course, Eric's wife, I saw her, Bethany, Helena Moreno was here, Arthel Neville, who used to work on Channel 4, who of course is the daughter of one of the famous Nevilles. She was here. I mean, the people who have come out, it's kind of been a who's who, but there's one lady who left after Katrina and moved to Oakland, California, and she came in for this, and I'm just, I don't know, I'm blown away by the appreciation of the people out there here in the city who are part of our family, who are just so appreciative. So the band did come back here to the starting point, and I bet this party goes well into the night. I asked one of the NOPD officers, I'm a bad estimate of crowd numbers. Give me an idea. And she said, I'm a bad estimate too, but it's hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds. So I just think Eric would absolutely love this. But I will tell you something else. This is interesting to me. People have been mailing cards since Eric announced that he had cancer. They've been mailing cards, a quilt even, all these notes and everything to Eric. And I've been collecting them, and I made sure that I got them to him. And he and Bethany were reading through all the cards. So I want to let our viewers know that Eric has seen your cards. And Eric, who we always tease about, you know, having a big head and all the jokes we have about Eric, he was overwhelmed and shocked that people would actually care and send a card about him. So that part of Eric surprised me too. But I do want to let our viewers know that we have passed every one of those cards on to him, and there's a few that have come in since then. I have them all ready to give to Bethany, and she is just loving them. And I know his son, who's only 8 years old, will really appreciate reading those one day, what all of the viewers are just saying how much they loved his dad. So this has just been amazing. And I'm sure what y'all saw was amazing, absolutely amazing too. So I don't know, I'm just grateful, very grateful. Reporting live from the Treme, Meg Ferris, WWL Louisiana, back to you.
I know, Meg, it is difficult. I have been fighting back tears for about 2 hours now.
Yes.
It is unbelievable. I know Meg has known Eric longer than any of us, and she has known all the quirks of Eric Paulsen. Eric Paulsen as a single man, Eric Paulsen as a married man, Eric Paulsen when he was young, and you know, all the things. And you know, I've been lucky enough to work with him for about 18 years. It's not long enough, I would say. But the outpouring that we have seen tonight is just something that would make him proud, and I know that, and I can say that with 100% certainty, that he would be so proud and so happy. And it's just really incredible to see.
It's an emotional day for a lot of us. It's been an emotional couple of days for a lot of us because each day that goes by, it sinks into the reality of what's happened and who we're without. All of us loved Eric. All of us have gotten into it with Eric. All of us have laughed with Eric.
Yes, to all the things. Yes.
Oh, it has been like we've run the gamut of emotions with Eric, but at the end of the day, you loved him, and you couldn't imagine this station without him, and I still cannot imagine this station without him.
No, it really does seem surreal, and you know, it's really unfortunate that our younger reporters aren't going to get more time with them, and one of those is Alyssa Curtis. She's been covering this incredible second line for Eric tonight for us in the crowd. Alyssa, where are you now?
We are heading back to the starting point. Oh, we're heading back to the starting point. We're on Ursuline and Treme, so we're heading. But I wanted to mention something. You guys talked about how, you know, some of us reporters wish we would have had gotten more time with him, and I am one of those. I've worked here now for 2 years, and I filled in a few times in the morning show, and sometimes we would cross paths, and Eric was just the absolute best. To be able to work with him even just those few times meant the world to me, and I know to the other reporters at this station. And this outpouring of love is so heartwarming, it's so overwhelming, and it's beautiful to see. The party is still going on. I think it's going to go well past when we head back to the starting point. That's just, again, a little bit, a small glimpse into what we've been hearing, not just today, but in the days since Eric passed. So many people loved Eric and still love Eric, and that love is not going to go away. If I learned anything tonight, is that Eric's legacy, Eric's impact, Eric's love for this city will go far beyond his passing. I think people will be telling their children and their grandchildren about Eric Paulsen for generations to come, because a lot of people, especially today, we're talking about, sometimes people don't know, or sometimes people forget that Eric was not born in New Orleans, and it's shocking. It's shocking to some people because he loved this city like it was his own, and they loved him back. They say if you love New Orleans, it'll love you right back, and that's exactly what happened with Eric and his life and his legacy here in New Orleans and at Channel 4. Just look at this, guys. There are, Meg said hundreds upon hundreds. I wouldn't even be shocked if there was like 1,000 people out here. And again, I haven't been able to go more than 10 steps without hearing, Eric, we love you. Eric was the best. Eric made me laugh in the morning. Eric came into my restaurant, and we had this interaction, and it's amazing to hear. It's so heartwarming, and I know it goes a long way for us at Channel 4. I'm sure it goes a long way to hear those amazing stories for his family. Again, a lot of people have just talked about how shocking his passing is, and it is really shocking, but this love is so felt from the community, and he, I know, is dancing in heaven right now. He is having the best time looking down at this. This is exactly what he would want. I said earlier, right when we were starting, there's a barbecue on 2 blocks and there's a bar on the other 2. And if you know Eric, you know he loved food, he loved the culture, he loved music. So this is such a great way to celebrate his life. We've been saying over the past few days, live like Eric, and this is exactly what Eric would have done. He would have danced the night away. He would have listened to some music. He would have been in the streets dancing with us, and this is just amazing. I don't know about you guys, my feet are hurting, but I don't even care because this is so much fun. I don't know how far else we're gonna go because it seems like the crowd is not dissipating at all. But again, this is just so amazing. I've had the biggest smile on my face, and even though it's been an emotional few days, we have been laughing and dancing through the pain and through the morning. Yes.
We love our Eric. We love him to death.
Absolutely.
He literally worked to his death.
Yes.
And that was the tenacity people love. It was that connection with the female reporters. It goes way back to Andre Trevine.
Absolutely.
We grew up on Eric. I'm 58, but I saw Eric when I was 7.
Yeah.
So can you imagine?
Absolutely.
What a loss. And it's going to be a really grave loss for this city. Such an icon.
Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that. And he is absolutely correct. What an icon, what a legend, what a giant Eric was. And this was the absolute perfect way to celebrate his life. We're heading back now to the starting point of this second line. So I'm gonna throw it back to you guys. We're gonna keep dancing, I think, in the streets. But for now, reporting in Treme, Alyssa Curtis, WWL Louisiana.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Rampart Street. And the second line just past this area. And I want to say, you can't really see it right now. I don't know if Rick Neese, our photographer, can get a shot. But if you look down by the Channel 4 studios outside the front doors of Rampart Street, she says she can't get a shot. All you can see is really that tree. But what I can see is that many members of our Channel 4 family are gathered out there. And I'm sure they're sharing some of their Eric stories. I saw Dominic Massa, Bethany, his widow now, was joining them. Arthel Neville, who was very close to Eric. And, you know, she basically became a celebrity as he was, you know, anchoring the morning news. We did hear from Aaron Neville even. He called and left a message at the station to talk about how much Eric had an impact on him. We know Eric always hosted Jazz Fest. I mean, he was very close with Quint Davis, who's the organizer and producer of Jazz Fest. And so every year Eric was out there hosting some of the stages.
Eric was, when I tell you he's baked into the culture of New Orleans, Eric had a little bit of a hand in everything. If it had anything to do with food, music, or culture, you likely saw him there. I was invited for the first time to the Jazz Museum's gala that Eric had a hand in hosting. Almost every year they hosted a stage. And it was my first time going there, and Eric was the guy. Of course. Everybody knew when he came on stage, everyone wanted a picture, even I wanted a picture. we
were like, wait, I work with you. Why am I getting a picture?
But you know, Eric. But it's because it's Eric, and like everyone says, and you will hear this story all the time from everyone you speak to. I've grown up watching Eric. I remember Eric and Andre Trevine. Actually, before I even considered a career in journalism, my parents would always tell me about the legendary fights between Eric and Andre Trevine, two amazing people who now we've both lost.
Lost both of them. You know, I put together a little story earlier this week about Eric's career, and it truly was the thing that legends were made of. But one of the things that struck me so much is that he did a story memorializing Andre when she passed away about 10 years ago. And it was so moving to hear him talk about what close friends they actually were, even though they would spar on TV. And they both said that was their spark. They had this chemistry and they had this spark, and it was that Andre would not put up with his stuff. And so she said, I wouldn't put up with it. I wouldn't take Eric's stuff. And so that's what made them so great.
I mean, and honestly, if you look at the women that are in Eric's life, even with Sally Ann Roberts and Sheba Turk, everyone that has worked with him, Bethany, who married him, he always said that these were people that I was drawn to. They were strong women. Even our news director, Nicole Wavers, he talked about all of this. When he just accepted the Press Club of New Orleans Lifetime Achievement Award, that strong women, where he was surrounded by it, and he credits the strong women that were around him for his success. And let me tell you, at that award, he was actually so emotional. I think it was the first time that he had ever gotten that award. And he has, if you look at all of the stories that we've done and the stories that people have told us, things that we didn't even know about, he ran the gamut. He was overseas. You know, everyone remembers, and I don't, unfortunately, because it was before my time. PM Magazine. Everyone remembers PM Magazine. Everyone remembers whenever he's covering a story and the music scene, sitting down with a chef, or you know, doing anything that's in the crowd, anything to do with culture. But while we're out here, you probably hear a lot of people, the traffic is starting to move right now, but there's still a lot of people that are right now in front. They've come out of the street and they're in front of the Channel 4 studios, and everyone is sharing stories and laughing and celebrating, and also just supporting and being there for each other. Because honestly, it's been a whirlwind, and I think that every time someone asks one of us, are we okay, or how we're doing, tears start to well up because you don't realize how impactful someone like Eric was until you lose them.
Yeah, and I don't think any of us expected to be saying goodbye this soon. I don't think any of us did. I mean, Eric was 23 going on 74, or however old he was. We won't actually, if that's not the right number, we'll just pretend I didn't say that, because I know he would not want me to say his age on television. But
I think we just all found out what the age was.
What his actual age is.
Right. You never mentioned it.
Right. You know, Rob Nelson, just things that people would tease him all the time. Rob Nelson, one of the former co-anchors who went on to ABC News from WWL. So funny, he would always tease Eric about his hair color.
Oh my!
Because he had a different hair color all the time, according to Rob Nelson. It was really funny. But there were all these things that people had with Eric, all these little jokes. Clancy Dubose talking about how Eric would always start a fight with him anytime he was on the morning show, because Eric was very opinionated and his opinions were very strong and very well informed, but he had a very distinct idea of what he thought was needed to fix the things that ailed his city, and he was not shy about telling you about it.
He wasn't easily influenced. He always thought for himself, and that's from the beginning of his career, and even moving on throughout his career. He always had his own opinions, his own thoughts, and if you had an opinion that differed from his, he'd tell you, well, I'm right. You're wrong. And I'm going to tell you why I'm right. He's going to break it down for you. So trust me, these are not uneducated opinions. He certainly knows exactly what he's talking about. But I tell you, one of my really great Eric stories, showing up to the station, since we're all sharing stories, showing up to the station one day, I am a relative of the late great Dave Bartholomew, who was my grandmother's cousin. And Dave came on the show one day, and I walked up to Dave and I told him that, I shared how we were related. He hugged me and his son hugged me and we talked, and I just knew I had brownie points because Dave went over to Eric and said, "That's my little cousin over there." and I said, "I got him." Yes, Eric finally, I made the Eric Club. I'm part of the gang now.
Yeah. I mean, he knew everybody. He loved telling everyone about it. And, it was great hearing the stories. I mean, when we hear from him, I remember I had to cover the late Al Copeland's funeral. That was a spectacle. I mean, it really was. It was very fitting for Al Copeland and the larger-than-life character that he was. And Eric was emceeing the funeral and giving one of the eulogies for Al Copeland, and I had no idea it was because Eric talked him into bringing him to a villa that was overseas on a private jet, and Eric had talked his way into that, and they were lifelong friends ever since. And so their connection really started from Eric's job here at WWL TV, but it stretched well beyond that, and I think a lot of people felt that way about him.
Yeah, one of the things I loved about him, he used to always, when I was doing the crew of Barkus, he said that I like for you to ask, I like to give, I don't like to ask for permission. I'll apologize later. But look, Eric, I will tell you this, we miss you. We love you so much. And I know that so many people, if you see that show of love here, it's been wonderful.
It has been just incredible. And we want to thank you all for joining us for our mourning, for our celebration of Eric Paulsen's life. You can always watch more about him on WWL Plus. But for now, we're going to leave you with that. Don't forget our Welcome back, everybody. We are celebrating the life of the late, great Eric Paulsen, our WWL morning news anchor for nearly 40 years.
Yes, as you can tell, people are still celebrating. They're driving around and we have these vehicles playing I Miss You. Earlier, we had a very, very moving tribute from the Roots of Music Crusaders, which Eric's family is asking that everyone make donations to. Wonderful group of young musicians in the community, and they played I Miss You, and I have to say that was moving. There were tears. Everyone just really got emotional.
Yeah, tears from Charisse and I as well. You know, I have goosebumps just thinking about it. It was an incredible, moving tribute, and of course, that is followed by a party, because that's what we do here in New Orleans, to celebrate people's lives, and I think that is exactly what Eric Paulsen would want.
I know that. We sat the band that stopped right in front of us, gave us a live performance of the dirge, and obviously, if you know, through a second line, they go through the dirge. This is the morning period, and after they play the dirge, everyone starts to dance and they start to celebrate and they begin to party, and that party culminated in front of the WWL studios, where so many people, former WWL crew members, people who were on air, producers, directors, they're all meeting there, young and old and new. They're all meeting there just to share their Eric story and, of course, support each other, because we truthfully love and thank you guys for the support. We definitely need it.
We have needed it. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a rough few days, and you know, ever since we heard that he was battling with cancer, we, I think, all kind of held our breath, thinking that he would be back on the desk. We all thought, you know, this would be a fight that he could win, and I think he thought that as well, and he fought bravely and courageously, and unfortunately that fight ended on Saturday morning, and it's been difficult, so we thank everybody out there for all of their support. What has been incredible is that this night tonight was not something that was orchestrated by WWL. No. This is something that was orchestrated by all of the musicians that Eric has promoted over the years, has supported, has raised up, and they wanted to celebrate Eric's life. It wasn't something that we did for any sort of TV reason or for any sort of corporate reason or anything. It was something that the musicians themselves wanted to do.
Yeah, speaking of the musicians, we told you about the Roots of Music, where Eric was a large supporter, and that moving tribute that they did performing in front of the WWL studios. Take a listen. Yeah.
Yeah, we were just listening right now to the Roots of Music and Breathe, like out, just being out here in the middle of them. I was trying to talk to y'all. It's like it's the drums and it's just the young kids. And I know Eric really, really, truly supported them and wanted them to be here. So they were very, very touching. And something else before I hand it to you, earlier I was like, I kind of feel like I've anchored with him a little bit, filling in, but like you sat next to him day in, day out, and it's very close connection.
Well, getting up that early and sitting next to someone for that many hours with very little breaks to talk about things that are very serious, very important to the community, talking about what you love, what you're passionate about. It might have been a year, but it feels like I've known him my whole life because we bonded. And so having this today was a very important part for me in that healing journey. This was the first time I felt like I could cry, but happy tears. I know I've been crying a little bit too much. I heard a lot of people say, you started crying, then I started crying. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it all back in. But this was so beautiful, and I just kept thinking, my God, if he could see this.
I know he is looking at this, and he probably like, yeah, like, be easy, be easy. They got my picture out here, like. Yeah,
right. I'm literally wearing him on my shirt. He'd be like, that's right. You better wear my face.
I can't even show my handkerchief because there's just makeup and tears on it. Yeah, especially, being in the crowd, and we're right in front of Channel 4 right now, and all of our coworkers and former coworkers are out here. And if you make that wrong eye connection with him, you'll just start crying. Because, it just shows how much of an impact he had on us.
I thought I was ready, and then we saw the second line approach North Rampart, and Leah, Peyton, Brandon, we all joined in because we came together as a morning crew, and immediately I just felt flooded with emotion. Good emotion, but you can't help but just feel so moved because we loved him so much, but everybody loved him. And it's nice to look at someone and just know that they're feeling the same thing, even if we've never met. And then I was like, okay, I'm good. I pulled it together, and we stood right in front of the studio,
and then they came up to you
and they started singing Roots of Music, just laid it down, and these beautiful children just playing their hearts out, and also they started singing We Miss You, and I lost it again, but it was a good loss.
Yeah, it's so to me it's like, is that Eric here? Because like, why at the same time do you just feel that? And what's beautiful about catching those emotions is everyone here, they know what we're going through, and they're all like, immediately, I'm crying, you got this, and they're hugging you, and there's so many hugs. Did you get a lot of hugs?
I got so many hugs. I could use more. But just having the community come out the way they did and just say, oh, that time Eric made this joke, or, I watch you guys every morning starting at 4:30. I cannot tell you what that means. It's not just a compliment. It's not just a moment where I go, oh, yeah, we are on TV. I mean, it's like these are family members who I'm being reacquainted with. Right. That's what it feels like.
Yes.
And I know that Eric loved everybody like family, and so for them to welcome me into theirs, it's so, I'm getting tingly thinking about it. You know what I mean? It's hard to put into words.
It's crazy that, like, as you describe it, I'm like, yes. I didn't know how to put that together. They're telling me to grab Keith. Hold on. Yeah, let's grab him. For the television. This is our former news director.
I remember.
You do? I remember you.
I remember
You worked with
television.
somebody else on TV, so we're gonna throw you on TV. This is Keith, our former news director. You worked with our good man Eric Paulsen for a long time.
Well, actually 2 stints with Eric.
Okay.
Back in the early 80s.
Oh, you're that old? Eric, what a
Yes, dear. And one day, if you're lucky, you'll be this old. So.
Yeah. Okay, I got that.
No, Eric and I worked on the weekends when he left PM, when they shut down PM Magazine. And honestly, we thought Eric was going to be this super lightweight guy because he was doing this feature program.
Eric's people.
Well, it was yeah, but there was a syndicated program, PM Magazine, and it was just a bunch of syndicated features, and so we thought he was a real lightweight. That was back in 1984, and we came in because we're like the hard news guys and all this, and it's like we got to work with the guy from PM. All right, so he shows up, and he just came right out of the gate, and he started breaking stories. This was when the World's Fair was here, which was just a disaster.
Yeah.
And he was breaking more stories on the weekend about what was going on there. And it really, had a lot of respect for the guy to come out, and he knew everybody.
Wow.
He knew everybody, and now my second time through. Here's one of my favorite stories of. I'm only back here about a month, and something happens in the late morning, and Eric was doing the noon show. And I went up to and we need to get on TV. I went up to the assignment desk and I said, "Where's Bubba?"
And was Eric's name?
Well, listen to the story,
All
dear.
right, my bad.
So I said, "Where's Bubba?" And they looked at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, "Bubba, where's Bubba? He's not at his desk." And look at, "Who are you talking about?" I said, Paulsen, where is he? Who calls him Bubba?
Right.
And I said, everybody called him Bubba 25 years ago when I was here. So everybody who knew him.
Oh, I wish I had known that sooner. Oh, I would have been calling him Bubba every minute of every day.
Oh.
Yeah, why you never told us that?
Come on.
Why didn't you tell us that? We could have called him Bubba.
He would have hated it, and I would have loved it.
Actually, he answered to it. I called him Bubba all the time. He had a whole story about how he got that nickname, but it didn't, even though we hoped it would insult him, it never did.
What did you think about the turnout tonight?
I think he'd be angry that he wasn't at the party.
Yeah.
Look, you're in broadcasting for 47 years in one city. There was really nobody. He either knew something or he knew somebody who could tell him something. So anytime we got, especially in the world of music, anytime we got a tip on something, I'd call Eric at home, and I'd say, "All right, who do you know?" And he'd say, "Give me 5 minutes." And he'd call me back and he would tell me, "It's good," or "Don't know where that came from."
Yeah.
So.
We're gonna miss him.
Yeah. Oh, don't start. Oh, don't start.
No, I'm not starting. Look, I've wiped up all my tears. We're gonna toss it to Meg because we don't want to cry no more. All right, Meg, you got a funny story. I know you do.
Okay. Okay, everyone. So the band, the second line band, the high school band, and then the second line band have made it back to the starting point here in Treme on St. Philip and North Robinson. And it is just a big block party at this point. And look, people in costumes over here. I want y'all to see. People, it's like a carnival atmosphere.
All right, I gotta go. I'll see you next time.
Okay, and everyone just having fun, celebrating, and people are coming up. People are coming up and saying how much they love Eric, and they're also just telling Eric stories. I mean, people from his past, people who just talking about Channel 4, and just really, really have incredible things to say. And they remember when Eric interviewed him. They remember when one of us interviewed him, and it just couldn't be any nicer. And the other thing is, there are generations out here. There are grandparents, there are grown children, and then the grandchildren, in some cases great-grandchildren, of people saying that for generations they watched Eric. And the other thing that's been very touching to me is people have come up and they've said that Eric really did a lot for the community, that they appreciated everything he did for the community, and they will start rattling off things about the way he helped the community. And Eric would love that. Eric would love that he's being recognized. And his wife and family are all still here among the crowd, all celebrating. And it's a good mood, but people, they know it was a fast way to go, and they miss him. And it's just a remarkable celebration. As I mentioned earlier, I'm getting text messages from far away, from New Orleanians all over the country, saying they're loving this, they're watching this, they wish that they were here. So it's just an incredible tribute to Eric, and he would be eating this up. That all the love that's coming back, and I hope Bethany, even though that's so heartbreaking for her, I hope she's just seeing what a difference he made for her. So it's wonderful out here, it really is. Back to you guys. Therese, Katie?
It really has been a spectacular night. It's been a spectacular night, especially here on Rampart Street, outside the Channel 4 studios. We have seen just about everything tonight, including a man walking down the street just now with a life-size cutout of Eric's form.
Oh, he would eat that up.
He would love it. He would
eat that up. There's a life-size cutout. And look, we're still having a little bit of a Channel 4 reunion while Katie and I are upstairs at the American Townhouse balcony right in front of the WWL studios where Whitney was a little bit earlier. We heard from some of Eric's former colleagues, people that used to work there that recently retired, and people who work there still. I mean, Channel 4, I can say, has a legacy of being a very close-knit and tight news family. And so when something happens or when something goes on here, honestly, I think that so many of us always return, whether people retire, whether they move on, or if they have to celebrate a new milestone in their lives. And I'm seeing this picture here. That's the cutout that's in front of the studio.
There it is. That's the cutout. Eric would love it. I'm sure he's seen it, and I'm sure he loved it then. But he's so fun. He was such a character, and he was larger than life, and that's something that holds true today. He is larger than life, and he's going to be here with us on Rampart Street forever. And his legacy lives on in this building. And, something else that we talked about over and over is that the success of the WWL Morning News, when Eric started it, was largely due to him and his chemistry with his co-anchors. And the success of that show made it one of the highest rated shows in the country.
Yes, not just here.
Not just in New Orleans, but in the country. And the success of that show helped build this place into the powerhouse that it is. And, that is in large part because of Eric Paulsen, and he knew it.
Yes.
He knew it.
He made sure you knew it too.
Yes, he did. And he earned that, though. He earned that gravitas. I mean, he worked hard for it, and he earned it. And, working here for 40 years, being a presence in people's homes and people's lives for that amount of time is something that you just can't replicate today. And it's something that's so meaningful to people.
Yeah, it really is. And what's really meaningful to people, too, as well? The fact that Eric, he could have gone anywhere. He was very talented. Usually when you get into this business, people have ambitions to go to the national level. And some of the people who left the Channel 4 studios, Michelle Miller, Hoda Kotb, they made that move.
Big names.
But Eric was dedicated to this community. It gave him everything that he needed in life, and part of that was to have a good time. It had great news, and of course to just enjoy everything. There was music, there was culture, there's so much to offer that's here, and he encapsulated all of that in the storytelling that he had.
Yeah, he absolutely did. I mean, whether it was feature stories on people who were traveling around the world, or if it was politicians that he was interviewing. I mean, he has interviewed almost every single governor for the last 30 years, And that's incredible. It was like Eric's hot seat was a seat of honor. It was like a rite of passage for Louisiana's governors and Louisiana's mayors. And, you know, Eric on election night, I'll never forget it. I was, believe, covering Bobby Jindal, if I remember correctly. And I was covering it with Eric and Sally. And we were at the election night headquarters. And it was right when I first, around the time that I came back in 2006.
Right.
And I'll never forget walking in because I was with Eric and Sally, and it was like I was walking in with rock stars. I mean, people were coming up to them. It was like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
Derek Paulsen, it's Sally Ann Roberts.
Yes.
And I'm just sitting there, little old me, like, this is incredible. I can't believe I'm with them. And like watching people's reactions to them was just, it really, you know, started my time here at Channel 4 with an appreciation for the legacy that I was joining. And I don't take that for granted every single day. And it was so great getting to know Eric and getting to work with him. And I'm really going to miss him.
You know, I will tell you this, and I'll share another story. For right now, we're going to go to Alyssa Curtis, because even though we don't have people here on North Rampart Street, second lines kept moving, and they're still partying. Alyssa Curtis is right in the middle of it all. You know, this doesn't end quickly, no. Alyssa. It's going, the party goes on and continues as it should.
In true New Orleans fashion, of course, we are right back at the starting point for the second line. And I think we're just going to hang out here for a little bit because it doesn't look like anyone wants to go home. Like Meg said earlier, everyone is just having a good time, remembering Eric, dancing in his honors, just partying in the streets in his honor. Again, so many people out here just love Eric so much. And to viewers, to the community, he was family. And I know he was family to us. He was family to the New Orleans, to the WWL Louisiana newsroom, but he was also family to New Orleans. Everyone felt like he was either a friend or a family member because they woke up with him every single morning. A lot of people say, I tuned in every single morning just to see what he would bother Sheba about, what he would bother Sally Ann about today. And that's just who Eric was. That's a legacy he left in this city. And Bethany is out here, and I keep looking over to her, and so many people are coming up to her, shaking hands, and they're having conversations, and I'm sure they're telling her the same thing, the impact that he had on their lives. And Eric's impact and legacy will last a lifetime, whether it's within the WWL Louisiana newsroom or beyond the city of New Orleans even. We've gotten messages from people all across the country, whether it's Western Indiana, California, people from all over just love Eric. And Eric was just such a giant in this community. And one of the first times I met Eric, I was walking into the studio, I was filling in for the morning news, and I was miking up, and he ran by to get into place right at the time that he was supposed to. Of course, as everyone has mentioned, he would run into the newsroom, mic up, and somehow, with a minute to spare, be ready for the show. And he scurried by me. I was miking up behind the scenes, and as I was miking up, him and Sheba said such a wild joke. I looked around, I was like, no one else is shocked at this, and in that moment, I was like, that's Eric. He's just making a joke that everyone's gonna laugh at, but no one's gonna be like, what the heck did he just say? And everyone also knew that. Everyone knew from the other side of the screen that Eric was gonna make some crazy joke. When I first moved here 2 years ago, and I started meeting people in the community, whether I was on assignment or not, or just hanging out at the grocery store, whatever it was, and people would be like, oh, you work for Channel 4. The first thing that they say to me is, oh, you know Eric Paulsen. The first thing that they tell me, oh, I love Eric Paulsen. For 2 years, I have had that message, and it means so much, and it truly shows what a legend Eric is. Just look at this crowd. Look at all the people just enjoying life right now and living like Eric, enjoying the community, enjoying New Orleans, enjoying the culture. And this is what it's all about. And of course, the news of Eric's passing has been so extremely hard, and we are heartbroken over it. But this outpouring of love, this party that we're having in his name and his honor, makes it just a little bit easier. And I know I'm grateful for this. I know a lot of people in the newsroom are grateful for this. And this is just amazing to see, and we're going to carry this legacy as much as we can. And again, people are telling me, oh my goodness, you know, I grew up with him, and now when I was watching him on the news growing up, I also turned on the news when I had a kid, and they grew up with him as well. And this is just a small glimpse into the love that people have for Eric. Again, if you love New Orleans, it'll love you back. And Eric did New Orleans like no other person. He loved this city so much. I think we can all take a little bit of a lesson from this, whether it's to live life to the fullest, whether it's to give back to your community, whether it's to pour into the culture bearers of this city. But I wish everyone could just take a little bit of that Eric spirit with them and take a look around at what's happened tonight and what we have done tonight, what the community has done for Eric tonight, and take that with them, with the rest of their life. And I think that's how we make this community just so full of love and just keep his honor and his legacy alive. So we're gonna keep on having fun and hanging out here. We're gonna check in with Whitney. Hey Whitney, what's going on over there?
Hey, Alyssa, how you doing, girl? Yeah, no, I heard you. I'm here. I am here. Well, they brought a cutout, and I told them I wanted a cutout, and it's here, and it's wow. I don't know. It's something special for sure. But we've been talking to people outside of the Channel 4 studios, and John, you used to work here. You're an engineer here, and you have some interesting stories about
one
Eric.
good story.
Tell us.
He challenged me one day during the morning show. We had a chef from San Francisco came in town, and he had exotic dishes. So he wanted me to try some meat, a particular meat. I said, well, if he has broccoli, you got to eat the broccoli, and I'll try the piece of meat. So he hates broccoli. I mean, absolutely hates it. So he ate a piece of broccoli, and I ate a piece of meat. And guess what the meat was? Nutra.
What? Like nudie?
Nutra. Nutra, the exotic animal of New Orleans.
Did it taste good?
Tastes like chicken.
Not
Yeah, he
taste
got
like
me on
chicken?
that one. He got me on that one.
Okay, you said you had another story.
No, that's the best story.
That's the best one. You got another one?
The other one was, let me see. We used to play softball. We had a softball league.
Oh, wow.
And he used to pitch. He was very good. He was a very good pitcher. He did all the pitching.
What do you think about the turnout tonight? Everybody coming out.
Fantastic. I had to be here. Been knowing him all my life. When I retired from Channel 4, he's one of the people who reached out. And I actually talked to him about a month before passing. So.
Yeah. He means something to everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Everybody. You heard it here first. Well, thank you, John. We appreciate you. This has been, people are taking photos with the cutout now. So people here that work at Channel 4 or who have previously worked at Channel 4, they're outside here. There's some music down the street. I know it's not as lively as it is in Tuba Fats Square, but it's definitely folks here that love Channel 4, and we've been getting all kinds of hugs and love, and we really, really, really appreciate that. So, yeah. All right, I'll turn it back to the anchors, which I think I see them through the trees up there on top of American Townhouse.
Yes.
How y'all
Hey,
doing up
Whitney.
there?
Yes.
Hey, girl.
We're sort of trying to wave at you.
We're laughing because of the cutout in the background of the interview. That was hilarious.
Yes.
And we know Eric would love that.
Yes.
The fact that there's a cutout walking around.
Yeah, and also too the fact that there's a random trombonist, I guess, just
Yes.
kind of walking around playing. I mean,
it's awesome.
honestly, like I said, though the second line passed, obviously the party hasn't started. You saw from Alyssa and Meg that they're going to keep this going. First of all, New Orleans loves the reasons to party. Secondly, everyone loved Eric Paulsen, and so they're going to party hardy for him tonight. And while we're up here, I just have to say I've been loving hearing your stories because obviously you had some more time with Eric than I've had an opportunity to have, but I love hearing your stories. I love hearing Meg's talk about their stories. Everyone has something to share about Eric and something that is just memorable. And in the time that I did get to work with him as his equal and not as a desk assistant, but just kind of being on the anchor desk with him and doing election coverage and of course doing coverage for Bacchus and even digging into our deeper issues with the Wounded City Roundtable and the Wounded City documentary, Eric and I really formed a bonding relationship where we talked a little bit more about ways that we can make this city better. So we talk about the fun, the art, and the culture, and the music and stuff, but he was really on his stuff when it came to holding people accountable and looking at the root causes of the issues in the city of New Orleans. He was really about that because he loved it here. And when you love something, you have to hold it accountable and you have to ask the tough questions.
You do. And, you know, I think that's one of the things that anyone would tell you about Eric is that He loved to have a fiery discussion about the things that were solutions. And I think that's a true testament of his character. And I have to say, you know, one of the things I liked most about filling in on that morning show, the morning show can be a little chaotic. It can be a little chaotic.
I've always asked not to.
There's a lot of guests coming and going, and it's a lot. So, like, when you fill in on that morning show, you really need somebody to tell you what's going on. And the only person who knows more than even the producers what's going on was Eric Paulsen. And I have to say that, you know, the first few times that I ever filled in on the desk with him, I remember just sitting there kind of like a little bit of a deer in headlights, like, okay, where are we going? What are we doing? And I always knew that Eric was sitting right there to rescue me.
Yes, he was going to guide you along the way.
Have him sitting next to you and knowing that, you know, this is something that he had been doing at the point when I got here for almost 20 years. And he knew it inside and out, and he was smooth as silk. He, you know, just would pick up and keep going, and like knew exactly when to start talking, when to shut up. And if you know, you were ever
talk when he wanted to talk.
Well, he would talk right over you, to be honest. But
he will talk when he wants to talk.
But it was so reassuring to just have him there and to have him sitting next to you. And I think that's something that I'm going to take away tonight, is that I know he is always still going to be there. And I think that he has taught us, you know, just a little bit how to do this in the Eric Paulsen way, and I think I'll always take that with me.
And I would tell you this, we've been sharing this hashtag live like Eric, but it's a true sentiment. You have to live like him. Like I said, he loved the music, he loved culture, he loved good food, and he also loved this city. So we do want you to live like Eric, and you can also share all of those ways that you live like Eric through the hashtag live like Eric, 504-529-4444. We've been sharing a lot of your stories, we've been sharing your voicemails. People have been sending us pictures from when they visited the station like years and years ago. So, I mean, we love seeing it, and it brings us back to another memory. And I love the fact that so many of you have stories about our Eric. We have so many that we can share, and some that we can't.
Some we can't. Some we can't say on TV. Right.
Some that we can. But, you know, I will tell you this, the sentiment is the same for all of us. We absolutely, absolutely love you, Eric Paulsen, and we'll see you when we get there.
Yeah, we miss you so much already, and you know, our hearts go out to his family, all of his friends, his loved ones, all of you out there who considered him family as well. We know that you're mourning with us here at WWL Louisiana, and we appreciate it. So we're going to leave it at that tonight, but we do, of course, want to hear from some of those who knew Eric best as we head out.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Maria, gratia plena, Maria, gratia plena, Ave, Ave Dominus, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus,